Hello, I'm Crickets and welcome back to I Have a Story. I'm going to try and do my best here and hopefully this video will work. I just made this video and there's only audio for about the first minute. Last night I made a very emotional video and my video froze after about the first minute. Again, how many people are having all these problems with their electronics? Doesn't matter if I'm using a $1,200 cell phone, a brand new 6-month-old brand new computer. It don't matter what I use or what app I use or anything. This morning I get up, turn my computer on, try to get online and get information for this video right here, and every web page I click on blinks for 1 second and then goes back to the last page. And then I reboot my computer, make sure everything's up to date. Alright, we're working now. Now I can click on web pages, but I cannot find some of the articles I wanted to put in this video. I know they were there. I shared them. Other people viewed them with me. Now I'm ready to make the video and they're just, I can't find them, period. How do you make content, people, if this is what's happening to you? All right, let's get on to the story here. So I know people want to look at me like I'm crazy when I air these stories, trying to figure out, like, there's no way this could be real. No way these courts operate like that. Well, come to find out, it gets even worse. And now the text messages from these judges are coming out and proving even deeper and more of what I say. I want to thank my UP News, and they're not my UP News, they're our UP News, but the name of it's my UP News, for finally breaking these stories out. Only I wonder what's going on, because they still don't seem to know all the story, but yet this lonely little cricket who lives in a national forest seems to know what's going on, but they still don't know what all's going on. Let's get on with the story here and listen to what the news has to say.
Welcome back. We're also learning more tonight about why 2 prosecutors in the Upper Peninsula are trying to get a circuit court judge off the bench for criminal cases. During an ongoing criminal investigation into a Mackinac County probate judge, years of text messages between him and the circuit court judge Brian Rahali came to light, which prosecutors say show they cannot be trusted to be impartial in the courtroom. My UP's Skylar Perkins tells us what we need to know. Skylar?
For some people in court, it can feel like even the judge is against you. But as prosecutors in Mackinac and Alger counties say, that actually might be the case. At least that is for them. The discovery comes after an investigation into probate court judge Clayton Graham, handled by the Mackinac County Sheriff's Office. Now, we're still trying to figure out what that investigation into Judge Graham is all about, but whatever it is, it uncovered dozens of pages of text messages between him and Judge Rahali.
So this is where I want to say, like, the news doesn't know what's going on. I aired this story back in November of what is going on. Now, I have professional friends on the inside to get this information from. But at the same time, I know what's going on. They have better contacts, should have better contacts than I do, and abilities than I have. Why can't they figure out what is going on? I'll link in the videos here or down in the comments, depending on which channel you're watching this on. I aired what was going on. 2 weeks after I aired about the judge getting into a car accident, intoxicated, hit and run, which is what started this investigation. Then 2 weeks after I aired the story, which was a couple weeks after it actually happened, after I aired the story weeks later, the news finally came out and said there was a hit and run. I mean, this is like a month after it already had happened, and we're still looking for the suspect. Help us try to find the suspect, because a month later you just air a story. No, they know what's going on. I don't have any doubt. But like some of the professional people I've talked to about this, it's all about CYA. We can't, these are judges, they're high, powerful people. We can't talk about them. They don't get treated like everybody else. It's wrong. These are people who should be leading by example and should be held to a higher standard than you and I. But they are even more corrupt than the criminals that they put in jail. And this judge right here proves it, and there's multiple judges. I can understand you guys want to think I'm crazy for saying this is what's happening and you not wanting to believe it, but this proves it. And this is, God, thank you for airing and finally this stuff starting to come out. Everything I've said is true. You pull those court documents that I showed you, you're going to see exactly what I see coming from the court. I did not alter any of that. It's all provable on record. Every single thing I have said. So what uncovered the investigation was the fact that the judge was intoxicated and hit and ran a pedestrian on a bicycle and left him for dead. Fortunately, the guy did not die, but sustained major injuries. Please, people, understand what I'm putting my butt out there on the line, bringing these stories as somebody. This is why I smoke. Let alone smoke 3 to 4 packs a day. How many years off of my life have I taken over my life smoking, chain smoking myself to death, not being able to eat, sleep, throwing up, on top of all my other medical conditions and everything else? How would you handle it if you were a victim of severe abuse? Even have a blue book, spine injury, disability because of your abuser. But yet you're the one who gets treated like a criminal, even though you can prove everything. This is what our court systems are. Even after you have dead children, they don't care. Drugged, abused, medical records, doctor's notes, the instances recorded happening of abuse. Who are you talking to? My dad, boom, gets hit and starts crying and the phone goes dead. And I keep getting laughed at, harassed by every single agency I have turned to, even for many, many years. They want to attack me for bringing it to their attention. I bring it all to the judge, and he takes my rights away from me and tells me I can't talk to my kid no more. Now my kid's been drugged, abused to the point where he could be dead, and this is all medically documented. And he's gone missing, and I haven't heard from him. And I've had it. These judges have already destroyed my life to the point of having dead children. What do I have left for them to take? Because my life isn't... Here's another one for you. The same judge. His wife left him because she caught him in bed with their very young babysitter. But yet he remained family court judge, making decisions on other people's children's and lives, and wrongfully denying, unconstitutionally taking away people's rights. How many victims are out there, even people who are doing drugs, alcoholics, committing crimes? Oh yeah, they let court system, same damn court system, lets murderers walk free. My God. Drug addicts, drug dealers, stealing guns. We don't care. I've aired it all, haven't I? And it's all documented on record. Everything I say may sound absolutely unbelievably crazy, but it's all provable. This judge has made, and this is one of the articles I was trying to find this morning, that now all of a sudden has just disappeared. The same judge has made our local newspaper headlines for his drug abuse, namely cocaine, but yet still remained family court judge. This same judge has had filings against him, and I know personal people who have submitted text messages, and this is another thing I've talked about that came up through the investigation on the same judge, is text messaging teenage girls inappropriate sexual content of himself. And even though people for years have been filing with our Gretchen Whitmer, who don't give a damn about what is going on in her state and the people and the abuse and everything that's happening, all everybody gets back is IDGF. We don't give a... These people are untouchable. They just keep getting away with it and away with it. And this has been going on for decades. And I'm no friends of this judge who claimed that he's still out drinking and driving on a daily fucking basis. Because these people are untouchable and they know it. Let's see what more the news has to say.
And it's those text messages that have prosecutors up in arms, appealing to the Judicial Tenure Commission to get him off the bench, at least for criminal cases. Now prosecutors in Mackinac and Alger County have filed separate motions in an attempt to make that happen, saying the texts clearly show Judge Rahali can't be trusted to act impartially. Specifically, Steinhoff said Rahali showed apparent and actual bias by trying to schedule a criminal case in such a way to affect the outcome. Steinhoff cites one exchange between the judges back in September of 2022, when Rahali had scheduled a minor criminal trial just 2 weeks before what he called one of the most complex and egregious criminal cases the county had seen in decades. Texting with Graham, Rahali noted the move had made Steinhoff mad, but didn't seem too concerned about it. The messages show Graham suggesting the case might be settled instead, and Rahali saying back, "Oh, it's going to settle." Messages also show Rahali and Graham bashing select prosecutors and defense attorneys, sometimes calling them, among other things, lazy or unintelligent. All this, in Steinhoff's words, adds up to it being impossible for any litigant, especially representatives of the state and law enforcement, to have the expectation of fairness while in Judge Rahali's courtroom. Meanwhile, other text messages address an underlying question raised by the case. Namely, do the judges have a case to criticize the prosecutors? In short, it begs the question of how valid the judges' grievances in their private conversations were. The answer may not have an impact on the motions to remove Rahali from the bench, but could carry water as we take a closer look at the courts in the eastern UP. We were able to get a hold of Prosecutor Spencer and Judge Rahali for their perspectives, but they didn't want to yet share anything on the record. We are still waiting for comment from Prosecutor Steinhoff, and in the meantime, we've got about 100 more pages of text messages between the judges to go through. We'll let you know what we find. In Munising, I'm Skylar Perkins from MyUP News.
There's a lot more in those text messages and on his phone than just what they're showing right here. I can only say so much, and I could answer even more questions that are being asked in this news broadcast, but there are certain things I absolutely cannot say without giving up certain people. So I have to keep quiet on some things. Understand the limb I'm putting myself on is I'm underneath these systems, already being treated like a criminal when I proved my innocence, and the fact that the other person is the one who's committed dozens of federal felonies, abused me, abused my children. I have all of it. 911 calls, police records, police testimony, and nobody gives a damn in these systems. Damn the man, grant the woman whatever she wants. The same judge has denied. I mean, this is the same exact court that I aired about. That's the court transcript. The court transcript where even her attorney called the court out on the fact that I filed a case. The court's not going to listen to it. I have court-ordered days to talk to my children, and she's denying me my right, which empowers her to continue doing it, and that's why it's been over a year since she found out my house burnt down and said, hey, this is a way to hurt him even more, because that's what... Again, people, I snap because this doesn't stop. It is still happening today and continues more and more, and every chance she can get, anything she can do, forging warrants for my arrest, and now she's allowed to just cross off court date, and I'm automatically found guilty. This is also the same judge who has charged me illegal sums of child support a year after a divorce is finalized. I mean, up till the day the divorce is finalized, everything from that day prior is settled. But a year later, in the middle of a court hearing for something totally different, I want another 14 grand, judge, for the year before our divorce. And he looked at me and I said, we're already done with that. The divorce is finalized. I mean, I didn't realize you had to explain the law to a judge. It threw me completely off guard. Didn't even know that was coming because it was not filed for. But I looked at the judge and said, sir, we already settled that. I'm paying on it now. Everything before the divorce is already said and done when we're divorced. But no, that doesn't count in this front of this judge Clayton Graham, that's the name. $14,000 in felony child support arrearages overnight in a snap of a finger, just like that. And I have to pay my abuser The one who abused me, abuses my children, alienates and denies me my rights of my kid, all back-powered and supported by the damn court system who's supposed to protect us, my children and me, the victims. Instead, if you're a man, you're damned. We're going to screw you as hard as we can. I've had enough. And I hope they bring the whole case out because I've brought it to you. Just sit back and wait for them to come for me.